Hello everyone, my name is Project Eclipse, also known as Assassin Zero, also known as Ultimate Fan in this game. Today I wanted you to introduce every one of you that stumble upon this video towards a topic of Ultimate Complete Guide to this game. So be it you may be a new player, you may be advanced player, you may be an endgame enjoyer. For me, I wanted to save you a little bit of your time, at least I hope so, by putting into perspective my 100 hours that I've played for the past week with this game. And well, let's dive into. Starting as the new player, the first thing that you will encounter is basically this team composition. You will be given Yo, you will be given Koishi, you will be given Tsukiroha. These three characters operate very differently. Basically, we'll be dealing with Breaker that has a lot of attack potential as melee. Breakability is very important to get a hang on early in the game, which is not that goes into naturally. I, for example, first learned how to use certain characters only whenever I stumbled upon first chapter boss. So I want to save you some time by getting accustomed to that. Play your melee character in the beginning. I cannot stress enough how important it is to counter parry, to use breakability, because with the breakability you will get your chain reaction with the different team members. For example, Tsuki is your range DPS and Koishi is your healer support. Basically, you will have to utilize these characters into your composition. Koishi works best with support abilities, enhancing your chain damage. Without breakability you cannot do chain damage, you cannot raise your tension, which is most important statistic in the battle resource in the game. Without it you basically cannot perform your ultimate. Your ultimate demands stage tension 2. Basically, tension cards that I like to use on this composition are as follows. 0 tension cards, because they don't consume tension, so you will be able to perform more ultimate abilities which you wanna use as soon as possible. So basically high tension cards, like for example this one, even though it's pretty OP, like look at the statistics, 60% of attack point increase and even further if you have unbending status, chance is you won't be able to use it maybe only for chapter bosses, unless you use specific team comp for this card. So not really your go-to status as a new player. As a new player you wanna invest as least as possible into cards that will work in every condition. So that's why we are using Ferocity. This one gives you revive option. So basically important in every team composition. You don't even have to invest into this card, because investment into level up gives you only marginal percentage change in this statistic. Nothing else changes. You'll still get revive even if it's on level 1. So yeah, don't invest into this one. Also keep in mind this is mostly your important resource in the game. Whenever you look at the cost of something, always look up at the Cane resource, which is your basic currency. You will be using it in everything, be it combining resources, being it leveling characters, being it leveling tension cards. So as you can see, every possible thing demands this as well. Yes, so keep in mind some tension cards demands statuses for additional activation, like this is perfectly safe to invest first tension card. This is always useful, gives you defense, gives you critical rate. These two statistics are very important for every character, especially on melee breakers that you will use in every team comp to perform chains. So yeah, level up this card without a problem up until level 30, because later on it scales very highly with Kane. So keep in mind that as well. This card on the other of the zero cost cards has tension cost. So whenever it activates, it will reduce a little bit of your tension bar, but it's not so significant that you won't be able to use your ultimates. Always remember as a new player, if you don't generate tension, if you cannot perform your ultimate abilities, something is wrong. This something may be the problem of your tension cards or the team composition. So always keep in mind 3 Holy Trinity, which is basically use melee character, support character and DPS character and build them accordingly. On melee you wanna have defense and attack statistic prioritization. Maybe a little bit of stamina is good as well, so you can counter parry as much as possible and perform breaks by countering enemy attacks. So learn how to play melee and be comfortable with playing melee to beat chapter bosses. Koishi as a support healer, usually build him for support option, so whenever you are performing chain abilities you will be using him as a first option. That's something that basically more of a middle section of the more advanced combat, but I think it's good to mention it right away, even in early stages. So that's why support is important, because not everyone can deal efficient amount of damage anyway, so pairing up with 3 DPS won't be as effective as you may think. Better to boost up 1 DPS for his ultimate rather than 3, which you won't be using that much if you don't perform breaks anyway. And Itsuki as a range DPS is always good, but keep in mind that you will be using range characters in certain situations, like some enemies use a lot of range attacks that you won't be able to counter with melee characters, so it's good in this regard to switch into range DPS. And that's basically it for combat statistics. As a new player, invest into characters that you like, spend your medals, synchro medals into options that you like. Standard synchro use blue medals for this one. You can use 10 pulls only for this specific banner, and remember that you only have guaranteed rewards for 10 pulls, not single pulls. That's one thing about other banner, that it's with paint currency. This basically, as a Tsuruko, is very well around AoE damage dealer, very well balanced healer as well. She can carry whole game, basically trivializing the whole experience of the breaking, of the dodging, of the counter parry, because she's characters that have range attacks are easier to navigating than melee ones. So keep in mind that if you have her, you can utilize her in almost every team composition. But it's good to level simultaneously different compositions, but we'll get to that in the middle guide. One more thing for the beginners, always buy your food buffs from this guy. Food buffs are things such as here. This one gives you XP boost up until level 15. This one gives you XP boost up until level 30. You craft this by grabbing recipe from Beroro. Second thing, basically use these food buffs whenever you have a rich maximum sticker marks throughout questing. So basically you will be able to level up different characters, keeping your pocket characters up ready for any challenge. Because even though you have these three characters, which is healer, melee DPS and range DPS, you sometimes wanna use, for example, a shielding character as a help for your support. You wanna mix things up, you wanna use different attacker. Thanks, Suki. Yeah, basically keep in mind that leveling multiple characters keep you prepared. Things to remember daily: happy worker. As a beginner you will be able to get requests from this place, and the most important resource that I already mentioned is cane, so outside of course banner currency that you will be able to pull with. Cane is such a well-used resource that basically grabbing 150k every day is a good choice. Basically, whenever you don't know what to grab always basic currency that you use for everything. Yes, that's basically it for the beginner guide. One more thing, you have this map. I cannot stress enough about how many places you visit, and whenever you are trying to complete the city progress with all the stickers, you can very well note down how many graffiti you have found in each of these locations. It will help you in the long run, because you will be able to, for example, using whenever you will be able to completing the remaining activities that you missed or something among the lines in the city, it will be easier for you to come back into specific area and narrow down what you have missed. So yeah, having a notepad open whenever you play this game, noting down how many graffitis you have found in each location will help you a lot, but I can understand that it can be a little messy to keeping it up. But yeah, it may help in the long run with maxing out the game if you have such a desire. Always remember that most important is keeping stickers completion, not everything, but stickers specifically for getting higher level ups, making you able to level your characters faster. And whenever you cannot level up your characters, your current roster, then swap out to secondary characters and level them up with food buffs. And that's basically it for a beginner guide. Now let's move on to middle guide for slightly advanced players. I already talked about value of resources such as cane currency that you use for everything, but there is also other stuff like, for example, tension cards that you don't use but they drop from enemies, right? There are some tension cards that are dropped from the mob. These are basically these ones, and these ones as well are dropping in extraordinary amount, these ones as well. Basically you can convert all of these for these materials. These are safe to convert because they are low rarity level, as well as they drop from any enemy basically that you encounter, and you can kill multiple enemies later on if you need any of these specific cards, then you will be able to farm them by being higher level than them, and that's why you can drop these cards and drop this currency. So don't worry about this specifically. Rat one as well. Yeah, you can convert these, and once you convert them, here is the place where you can exchange them. Obviously, for the more important currency, always focus on the Enigma currency, because you can pull everything, any banner with this, but this is for the bronze currency. So here, as you can see, we have few options. These are mostly resources dropped by mobs, but there is also cane currency that monthly is the best choice to buy outside of the polling currency, banner currency. So yeah, basically always keep in mind cane currencies. As an advanced player you may not see the problem now, but if you invest into too many tension cards, you may see it as a problem later on. Remember about being advanced. When you are advanced, you have few composition. You should be thinking about leveling them simultaneously. So, as I mentioned, Holy Trinity, melee, range, healer. Use this to prepare several different compositions. For example, here I have Tsuruko as a healer, AoE DPS. I have Minami as a shielder and healer. Very important to note, it's a shielder, so whenever you have some wiping AoE damaging mechanic, she can save you entire team from wiping just because she's a shielder. Good to keep in mind whenever you reach highest endgame content, to keep her leveled up. Or maybe Senju. Senju is as well shielder, but a slightly different one. He needs to fulfill a certain condition to give AoE shield, and he is a little bit harder to play. But anyway, as I said, Holy Trinity, range DPS or shielder, healer and melee breaker in every team comp. Why do I have so many team comps, you may ask yourself? Because XB mode, which is PvP late game, most important in my position content, because you can clear game with anything. As I mentioned, starting team comp, the character they give you is enough to finish the story mode, which is currently 2 chapters. But whenever we are coming to XB mode, you need 9 playable characters that will be filling your team, so you don't wanna have a weak character in your composition that may ruin your experience from the PvP mode. Right now the XB mode is very easy, you can reach the highest rank without any problems, but it's good to keep in mind for future content, for future I'm lacking a word, sorry, I'm never talked so much. Basically you can never, better to be prepared from challenge rather than suffer from being unprepared. So that's my logical assumption by going for this, by leveling different compositions, and this is the way I treat it. In the XB composition you will always have 3 battlers, 3 catchers, defenders, and they usually are splitted between healers, breakers and range DPS as well. So, you know, basically keep in mind that it helps sticking to the rule of Trinity, so having, you know, 1 range character, 1 melee character and 1 healing character. This will fulfill your XB team comp almost perfectly. I know that some positions may not be as same as the leveling character you have, but honestly it's not, you don't need perfect guy on perfect XB composition, because you can win this with even different character in different positions. I never lost a match in XB. I've played like 15 matches, so you know, up until the highest rank, so basically yeah, no problem right now. The thing that we should talk about when leveling characters is boosters that will give you entries to the rifts. These are specific cassettes that you may notice. This one, it's good to use them with foot buffs, of course, because at the end of each of the rift you will have elite pack of mobs, and basically by killing them you get high XP boost, and this is well used whenever you want to do two things at once. One, collect resources for ranking up your favorite character, and second, for leveling up new characters. This will save you so much times, so be sure to use them whenever you need to level up with food buffs and rank up a new characters. Keep in mind whenever ranking characters that once you reach XZ rank, each next rank up costs tremendous amount of resources, very rare resources and money, so Kane, and it gives you very little of the gems as well for the statistics. This is very important in both matches and team compositions, so be sure to not forget about it, basically. Regarding XP compositions, I don't change it from my usual farming compositions, so you know, it's basically pretty similar, with maybe few exceptions. Whenever you want to have good runners with scoring, you may wanna have someone with slightly higher base running, and this helps us supporting in the chaining during battles normally in farming, but it's okay. Remember that every extra copy of the character also gives you boost to this. That's why, for example, Gotanda is a very good pitcher that may very well win game just by pitching in XB, and as controlled by the AI is very good at controlling range units, so you know, be sure to give your AI companion always range character, because they have good utilization with this often. At least it's true for Gotenda and few others range characters as well. Tsuruko is very well played by range as well. So yeah, keep that in mind. As a middle player, you will have to be at that point aware of switching in between battles. So whenever you are encountering enemies that have multiple range attacks, you should be comfortable with playing one range character at the same time as one melee character. I cannot stress enough how much it will help you in fights to learn two different styles of fighting and noticing whenever you have enemy that gives a lot of projectiles, you cannot counter them by melee character. You do much more dodges, waste time by dodging, and sometimes whenever you get hit, because you will be stuck in animation, enemy tension bar will rise up and you will have harder time to beat it. So keep in mind, sometimes performing a range roll is good for you to leave dodging to AI. Yeah. As a melee, okay. What I wanted to mention, don't be scared to invest a little bit at that point in tension cards. You may try a different compositions, for example charm, and maybe some character that you obtained will work better with something else, because you know, someone with high break ability will generate more tension, so you may be trying to, I don't know, maybe use Senju ultimate card. Sometimes it may work on some bosses, but keep in mind the golden rule: whenever you have no tension, whenever you don't generate tension, something might be wrong, and you may wanna investigate tension cards and characters that you use. If you use Holy Trinity, if it's everything there, if you have breaker ability. Okay, that's it about preparing as a middle player for endgame content. Last thing I wanted to mention is endgame players. As endgame player, you will obviously wanna clear all the stickers. You wanna have level 40 characters ready. So you'll be completing the maps, completing the stuff, and grabbing daily quests. And on top of that, there is one more thing to mention as endgame content creator. I didn't mention it earlier because it's a little bit annoying. You have delivery thing in the Happy Workers station. Here you can select any resource to fulfill request. And you always wanna pick only boss materials, because they are the easiest to fulfill for other players, and you can fulfill them as well. So basically always pick one of these four as a request, and always add people to your follow list that only put request on these materials. And why do you do that? Because it's 30 currency for Enigma currency for the additional pulls that you will have in the future, so it's pretty big deal. But don't be stressed if you cannot get free requests daily. Every player can only give you one request, so it will always be more people that want this done over the people that can actually pull them out. You have specific Steam forum thread for that. I can also suggest adding the highest XB players to the list, because they will probably know the rule to add only boss materials. If someone doesn't stick to the rule, just unfollow them right here, and that way you will be clearing your following list to the people that play actively and give requests that you can fulfill and get free currency. That's the first thing. Or maybe the second thing, because the first thing was completing the map. As an endgame player, you will be trying to smoothly level up from level 1 characters to level 30 on boost through rifts in such places, during collecting, for example, the resources that you need for Tsuruko, which will be, for example, these ones. Always bring food buffs to these places. Always bring leveling characters, because they can get additional multiplayers in there. Regarding these cassettes, you can only have entries, you can only have 30 of them, so be sure to not overload yourself with them. Use them when you see it fit, whenever you wanna rank up a certain character. Other way, once you hit around level 40 for this character, start doing boss battles that will be visible through the map, like for example the shark, or maybe someone else. Yes, that's basically it when it comes to leveling up. The final zone for leveling up, this will be above level 40. It's the most efficient to do Fractal Vice. Fractal Vice is a place you get access to once you finish the game. So basically you have your stickers, you can level up to 40, and by getting to the Fractal Vice you will be able to level up to 50 at that point. So after the story mode, current chapter 2. This is the Fractal Vice area. Here is the entrance. You go there, you pass through the levels, collect the chests with the most important Patimon. Patimons are the boosters for your characters that will be able to increase your statistic tremendously. As I mentioned, always focus on the damage dealers to have highest attack on range characters, also to have high attack, and have one character that's specifically for support statistic whenever you can manage to give them a lot of support statistics. Right now my support gear is on her, as you can see. That's a lot of support, and support increases your damage dealing during chains, so that's huge chunk of damage split into very area of effect type of damage. Yeah, the last levels are usually the hardest to level up, so whenever you have characters past level 45, the XP that you will be getting is only through 3 possible places. One is the chests, the second one is lowest level of fracture base mobs, because there appears mobs that appear are level 46, and the last boss that gives you always 9,000 XP per win to every character. So that's always never changing. Whenever you have level 46 or 49, it gives you a lot of XP. That's very quickly possible to level up. So always do the last extreme boss from Fractal Vice, and if you stick to the compositions that I presented to you, you shouldn't be able, even if you use these 3 characters, you should be able to clear that fight. If not, maybe swap to Tsuki for Minami, so you have sure that you will survive wipe mechanics. Because sometimes you might miss this window, because if you don't parry something, you will be down instantly. So it's good to have revive, tension card, and on top of that shielding character as well. If you don't have any shielding characters, then maybe stack a little bit more defense, a little bit more HP on characters to survive this one specific attack and then heal through it. That's my take on how to clear whole game, even the extreme content, and how to utilize the composition. You'll be basically doing this for endgame content because you want to complete your XB PvP mode, 9 characters level tapped to perform very well during PvP. That's why we'll keep out 3 different composition. You may have like one character that you don't want to play. For me it's Todoroki AG, like I just don't like this character at all. Like, he's funny, but he's also a bit of an asshole, so yeah, I'm just waiting to change this character for someone else. But like one character level 40 doesn't like break your XB composition. I would say, like, if most of your team is level 40, you are good to go to reach highest rank on XB, so no problem there, at least for now. Did I miss something else? I don't think so. I think I presented perfect leveling opportunities, although I only talked about it, didn't show them. It's good to note that whenever you are completing a story, mark down places where you saw a lot of chests within the area. The few spots that I can give you for chest farming: blue chests respawn every 2 days, I believe. Golden chest every 3 or 4 days? Not so sure, but slightly longer time than the blue chests, and the normal chest spawns every day, so you can run them daily, but I don't recommend that. I would always visit places with at least blue chests. One of such places in the starting area is Hotel Underpass. Once you clear this narrow blocks that will be in this place. You clear them through story mode. You will notice that this place has plenty of chests in one place close together, so it's good to cover them. Other places like that is abandoned warehouse as well. Few chests of high value are also inside. And from the second map, I always recommend Chaos Midtown, because at the very far end there is 3 golden chests and you go there anyway to fulfill one of the important dailies. So it's along the way. And the other place is Shiba main temple. Also like 3 or 4 chests here, and also a pack of mobs that you can farm, like there is battle of 6 mobs at the same time. So if you have any AoE damage dealer around level 30, you can use this instead of rift places. If you don't have entries for rifts, I recommend just refreshing this area for additional XP. Keep in mind that XP from chests doesn't change, so if you have characters that need XP and they are higher level, I would suggest focusing opening chests with these higher level characters, because they have harder time to get this XP. Yeah, that's basically it. I think I mentioned everything that you may possibly want. If there will be anything else, then I hope to update this, maybe. I just wanted to talk and I'm almost like, my throat is like, oh my god. I hope it helped. I hope that I saved a little bit of your time and you will have like higher, broadened perspective on the whole game with this basically vlog. So thank you for watching and see you around.